Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview.
Hey, look what's on.
Me out with the crowds. Buy me some peanuts, popcorn, beautiful package of Puffer Jacks here.
I could really go for a hot dog.
From where?
The Astrodome. Good hot dogs.
Astrodome? Can't grow good hot dogs indoors. Yankee Stadium. September. Hot dogs have been boiling since the opening day in April. That's a hot dog.
The yellow mustard or the darker one?
Darker.
It's important.
If I may begin.
Oh, he's back.
Killjoy. Pass the mustard.
Actually, that's strangely appropriate. Known as the Indians since 1915, Cleveland's Major League Baseball team will now be called the Guardians. The ball club announced the name change, effective at the end of the 2021 season, with a video on Twitter.
We are a city on the rise, forging into the future from our ironed-out past. We are a city of fire and water, of trees and towers, built through generations of blue collars and the brightest scholars, and all of those who have worked harder. We hold tight to our roots and set our sights on tomorrow. And this is our team that has stood with our city for more than a century, from Old Municipal to the corner of Carnegie. A team that has seen its own progress and prosperity. Its history flows like the river through the heart of this city. A history that has given us miraculous moments. Moments that spanned years and others 22 games. Moments that broke barriers and moments that broke hearts. Moments that prove this is more than a game. We remember those moments as we move forward with change. You see, it has always been Cleveland that's the best part of our name. And now it's time to unite as one family, one community, to build the next era for this team and this city, to keep watch and guard what makes this game the greatest, to come together and welcome all who want to join us. We are loyal and proud and resilient. We protect what we've earned and always defend it. Together we stand with all who understand what it means to be born and built from the land. Because this is the city we love and the game we believe in. And together, we are all Cleveland Guardians.
The organization spent most of the past year whittling down a list of potential names. That was at nearly 1,200 just over a month ago.
They do know that the Guardians is a nickname for a roller derby team in Cleveland.
I just love that rock'em sock'em action.
Owner Paul Dolan said last summer's social unrest, touched off by the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, spurred his intentions to change the name. The decision ends months of internal discussions triggered by a national reckoning by institutions and teams to drop logos and names considered racist.
You call that a strike?
You're blind, ump. You're blind, ump.
You must be out of your mind, ump.
Hey, so we Kennedy, so we
Other recent changes include the NFL's Washington franchise, which has yet to announce their new moniker after dropping the Redskins almost 2 years ago. Major universities such as St. John's in New York and the University of North Dakota have already changed nicknames, reflecting the ongoing trend. It would seem obvious why this is appropriate, but how is it seen by the Native American community of this country?
change the name! When do we want it? Now!
It was a common sight every opening day and at baseball games throughout the season. A small, relentless group of people would gather and protest, calling for the Indians to drop Chief Wahoo and find a new team name.
We're going to continue to keep coming out here until it's eliminated.
And finally, that day has come. Cynthia Connolly tweeted a statement from the Cleveland Indigenous Coalition that read in part, "This is a culmination of over 60 years of grassroots advocacy and activism," adding, "The name change will create a place where Native American children and their families are valued and fully seen."
Over the decades that this movement has been moving forward, people have been listening.
Christopher Begay is chair of the Committee of 500 Years of Dignity and Resistance and has personally fought against the Indians' name for 3 decades.
There were ups and downs, and there were times where we were told that we're wasting our time. But that never stopped us.
Begay says Indigenous people here in Cleveland have a rich culture, one that is spiritual and filled with dignity, something the Indians' name and the buck-toothed Chief Wahoo logo never depicted for Native Americans. He's grateful knowing change is on the way.
It's a little bit of a load off your chest.
But understands there's also more work to be done.
This is just a small hurdle. There's more work to be done. There's more education to be learned.
Meanwhile, MLB's Atlanta franchise, the Braves, have previously stated they don't intend on making a name change. However, an online petition has been started after the passing of baseball great Hank Aaron, calling for the Braves to change their name to the Hammers in honor of Hammer and Hank. Nearly 2,000 fans out of a goal of 41,000, one for every seat in the Atlanta ballpark, have already signed the petition.
You think it will work?
Well, I haven't heard any crying.
Because there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. No crying!
In other news, coming up this week in Mamaroneck, New York, the Winged Foot Golf Club plans to hold a gala.
Yeah.
So?
Thank you very little.
This exclusive members-only golf club, which denied former President Obama's request to play, plans to host an event celebrating its most famous member.
Seriously?
One of the most storied golf clubs in the U.S. and the host of the 2020 PGA U.S. Open has created an unintentional firestorm in the community with plans to honor the failed former president and longtime member Donald Trump next month. The Winged Foot Golf Club has deactivated its Twitter account in response to online fervor after plans to recognize Trump became public and calls to the country club's listed phone number went unanswered.
Well, we're waiting.
Local activist groups and national figures, including former Republican strategist Rick Wilson, have vowed to keep pressure on the private members-only club.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
The planned event has reportedly caused a rift among club members, but the news of the planned banquet has also caused outrage beyond the wrought iron gates of the elite Westchester County institution.
Hey, Doc, could you scare up another round for our table over here and tell the cook this is low-grade dog food, all right? And here, take this for yourself, okay? Jeez, I had better food at the ball game, you know? I tell you, this steak still has marks where the jockey was hitting it.
NBC News reported that one unidentified club member told them, "The rich Republican Trumper members think it's great to feast the insurrectionists." Pathetic.
He's not wrong.
And now for something sadly the same. As we reported last week, the House Select Committee is underway in its investigation of the January 6th insurrection. They're getting ready to subpoena anyone they feel is necessary, including the failed former president and his staff. While that was happening, the GOP was out in force, denying and distracting. Several outspoken supporters of the failed former President Trump, who also happen to be QAnon believing members of Congress, were holding a press conference in order to draw attention away from the Select Committee hearing.
Now, who would do that?
Oh, I wonder.
Who could it be? Who could it be? I just can't imagine who. Could it be Satan?
Close. Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Louis Gohmert, and Paul Gosar stood in front of the Department of Justice that same afternoon as 4 brave police officers who fought to save their lives and those of everyone in the Capitol were giving testimony. The press conference was ended abruptly when protesters descended upon them and called them out. One protester was employing an auditory weapon.
Auditory weapon?
Why are you blowing in people's ears, dude? Are you trying to assault people? They should move away.
Are you trying to assault people
They should move away.
with auditory weapons? Why are you assaulting?
I love it. An actual whistleblower.
The whistleblower was not alone, but disrupted much of what was being said.
Somebody take them away.
The media, you saw what happened here. The left shut us down.
Yeah.
They hate free speech. They hate free speech.
Are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile?
Some of the pro-Trump attendees tried to get the DC police to remove the whistleblower, but to no avail. 10 minutes after the event started, things went from bad to worse for the distinguished members, as additional protesters arrived bearing a large effigy of Trump and signs reading, "Traitors and rapists, sit down. Pedophiles for Trump," and January 6th was an inside job.
Sounds like they are trying to distract from the investigation.
I wonder why.
Ask Alabama Representative Mo Brooks.
Hey, Mo!
You remember Mo, right?
Now, I'm Congressman Mo Brooks from Alabama's 5th Congressional District, and I've got a message that I need you to take to your heart and take back home, and along the way, stop at the Capitol. Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass. Louder, will you fight for America?
Mo's stylish yellow jacket really stood out. Apparently, he was warned about trouble that might be happening over the next several days.
Oh, who provided this warning?
Mo didn't say, but he admitted to sleeping on the floor of his office and wearing body armor, which was the reason for the yellow jacket. Mo Brooks felt pretty comfortable in what he said, and he would not be able to be touched. However, Mo Brooks is being sued by fellow Congressman Eric Swalwell, the Democrat from California. Swalwell alleges that Brooks and others named in the lawsuit helped incite a mob of Trump supporters on January 6th at the pro-Trump rally.
I thought they were tourists.
But as a member of Congress, doesn't he get some kind of immunity or privilege?
The Justice Department issued a statement on that very question. Brooks claimed he was acting as an employee of the U.S. government, engaged in campaign activity when he participated in the rally. The DOJ stated he was not acting within the scope of his duties as a member of Congress, so he does not qualify for legal immunity for his actions.
So, inciting a riot does not fall into the scope of duties for a congressman.
Apparently not.
Well, duh. The official DOJ court filing states, the department has declined to issue a certification because it cannot conclude that Brooks was acting within the scope of his office or employment as a member of Congress at the time of the incident, out of which the claims in this case arose. So, in this case, the federal government's ruling seems to open the door for more people to be held accountable for the insurrection that day.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This has been But Frankly Pierce News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. I'm old enough not to care too much about what you think of me, but I'm young enough to remember the future and the way things ought to be.